It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Do you find yourself struggling to let go of a failed relationship? Have you experienced a business or career setback? Are you trying to move forward after the loss of a loved one? Do you wish you could just be more secure? Often these types of situations bind us with negative thoughts that prevent us from living our best lives. According to today's guest, Brian Tracy, letting go of those thoughts is one of the most important steps toward success. Brian is here today to offer strategies to help us overcome detrimental patterns that prevent us from achieving our goals or feeling happy and satisfied. Brian is the chairman and CEO of Brian Tracy International, a company specializing in the training and development of individuals and organizations. He is a top-selling author and speaker who has written and produced more than 300 audio and video learning programs, including the worldwide best-selling Psychology of Achievement, which has been translated into more than 28 languages. Brian is a co-author of the new book, Believe It to Achieve It. Overcome your doubts, let go of the past, and unlock your full potential. Welcome, Brian. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Joan. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Brian, from the title of this show, you know that I'm a believer in the power of our thoughts. And if we're to move forward with anything we want to accomplish, we must begin with what we think. But most people don't even recognize their negativity. You've been doing this work for many years. What do you believe keeps us stuck? What keeps us in that pattern of negative thinking?
Well, I began studying this subject, I hate to say, decades ago. And what I found is that the greatest obstacle between happiness, success, fulfillment, and everything else is negative emotions. And negative emotions are where we interpret things in a negative way. In the modern age, experts like the University of Pennsylvania professor who wrote Learned Optimism, he said basically that what we do is we interpret things. We have an explanatory style, and our explanatory style explains the world around us whether or not it's correct. So if you have an incorrect explanatory style, you interpret things to yourself in a negative way, then everything will be negative. Now, what I discovered, which was so important, is that getting rid of negative emotions is the key to happiness, success, fulfillment, love, joy, transition, long life, everything else. And how do you get rid of negative emotions? And the simplest of all things is that you stop blaming other people for problems that have occurred in your life. The essence of it was forgiveness, Joan, is that the reason why we are unhappy is because we have not yet forgiven someone or something in our lives that we blame for our situation, current or past. And so what I began teaching, the importance of forgiving and just simply letting go of everything that has ever hurt you or bothered you in life. And as soon as you do that, your whole life changes. It's like a transformation. All the lights in your life come on. But as soon as you stop blaming others and let it go, your whole life transforms.
So, Brian, I've experienced a lot of loss and a lot of pain in my life, and I found myself living in the past, doing a lot of the things that you just described, wondering about all the what-ifs, wishing things could be different. But that way of thinking doesn't serve us well. I was miserable. So how does staying stuck in the past keep us from moving forward?
Well, we all have instances in our lives where the lights come on. Some years ago, one of the best writers in New York was interviewing a psychiatrist who had been in business and practice for 30, 40 years. He said it was quite astonishing. He said that virtually every single therapeutic session, which went on for 6 months to 6 years, began with the words, if only, and explained that if only I hadn't done this, if only my parents hadn't done that, if only my first wife or husband this, or if only, and it was always if only. And so people walked around carrying this burden of if only. And so you have to let your if onlys go. And one of the things that I teach is that you must never be worried about something that you can't change. And you cannot change the past. So you must never be upset or angry or stressed about a past event because it's unchangeable. The only thing that you can change is the present. And you can change the present by the way you respond and react today. And what I've taught over and over again is that accepting responsibility, just saying the magic words, I am responsible. I am responsible for how I respond to whatever happens. I cannot control external events, but I can control myself. So let us say you come back to your car in the parking lot of the shopping center and there's a dent in the door and whoever did it is gone. Well, you are not legally at fault or accountable, but you are responsible for how you respond, and this is always under your control. And if you make a habit of accepting responsibility, saying, all right, I'm going to stay calm, clear, there's certain things I can do, the person is gone, just make a habit of saying, I am responsible for how I respond. And this turns out to be one of the great discoveries of human history, is successful people, leaders, are famous for accepting responsibility for results. You'll find that unhappy, negative people are always blaming others. He did this, she did that, they did this, they did that. What I would teach is that there is a negative emotion tree, and the negative emotion tree has fruit, and the fruit are negative emotions. And then I say, well, this negative emotion tree is like a Christmas tree. Imagine that these fruits, are like lights on a Christmas tree. How do you turn off all the lights of a Christmas tree simultaneously? And the answer is you pull the plug. As soon as you pull the plug, all the lights go out. As soon as you say, I am responsible, and accept responsibility for the situation, all your negative emotions stop instantly. It's the most phenomenal thing. You can actually eliminate negative emotions in a second by just simply saying, I am responsible. Because you cannot accept responsibility and be angry at the same time. So we say as soon as you stop blaming, your whole life transforms. If you accept responsibility, all that is left is positive emotions, which are creative, which are helpful, which are loving, which are kind, which are healthy, and you have total control over that.
Brian, you say that we should become a master of change, and a lot of us try to make changes, and sometimes we're able to stick to them for a while, but eventually we slip back into our old patterns. What do you believe we could do that will help us make change last?
Yes, it's very simple. You and I know that you become what you think about most of the time. Mm-hmm. That you change your thinking, you change your life. Is that if you change your ideas, what happens about yourself and your world, your whole world changes. In fact, when I began to study this in my 20s, I came across a concept called basic premises, is that everything that happens to you in life is determined by your basic premises, your basic beliefs. And these are things that have happened or ideas that you have accepted, usually without question. And what you do, all change in your life begins when you challenge your basic premises. For example, I know that everybody wants to be financially successful. And when I started off, I came out of school. I did not graduate. I worked at laboring jobs for several years. I worked as a laborer. I worked on farms and ranches. I worked in factories and mills and mines and on ships. And I had this idea that I would never amount to much. My parents told me I would never amount to much. Most of the adults in my life told me I would never amount to much. In fact, when I left junior high school, middle school, one of my teachers took me aside and said, we just had a vote in the staff room, and we have voted you most likely to fail in life. You will be the first person to go to jail. That's what they told, and they told me that like it was kind of a funny thing, is the teachers have all agreed you'll be the first person to go to jail. Well, I disappointed them, but not entirely. Anyway, and so my basic premise was that I would be a laborer. And when I could no longer get a laboring job, I got into sales. But I didn't know how to sell, so I starved. And I slept on the floor of a small room and struggled and struggled and struggled. And then I learned something. I learned the importance of setting goals. That you can change your life completely by simply sitting down with a piece of paper and writing down a list of goals that you would like to achieve. And then you ask the question, how? how can I achieve these goals, but especially what skill or skills would I have to develop to achieve these goals. And what I found in sales, it was really quite simple. And so I began to study selling. And then I'd go out every day knocking on doors, cold calling. If I didn't sell something, I didn't eat. And I would cold call, and every day I would study in the morning before I left home at 7:30 or 8, and then I would work all day into the evening knocking on doors. And eventually I began to make sales, and then to make more sales. And then I recruited other people and taught them what I had learned. And within a couple of years, I had a 95-person sales force in 6 countries. And it was quite astonishing to me because my basic premise was that I would never be successful financially. So what I do is I teach people. I say, you can be as financially successful as you want. Just simply learn how. You're going to have to pick something that you enjoy and then become very good at it. And then you're going to have to work very, very hard for a long time until you break through. But everybody has the ability to achieve tremendous financial success if they write it down as a goal and they make a plan and they work on it every day. If this turned out to be the best year of your life, your health, your wealth, your family, money, home, business, everything was the very best year of your entire life, then write down what would have happened. What would have happened and what would you have done to make this the best year of your life? What would happen? What goals would you achieve? House, home, car, money, everything. And what would you have done? What day by day, week by week, month by month, what would you have done to make this year the best year of your life? Now, take another clean sheet of paper and say it's now December 31st and you did not achieve all your goals. You, unfortunately, for a variety of reasons, didn't achieve your goals. Then write down what did you fail to do that led to you failing to achieve your goals? What did you not do? What did you not do that you were supposed to do? And write it down. So you have those 2 lists. These are all the things that I did to make sure that 2018 was the best year of my life, or these are the things I failed to do. I did not learn and upgrade my skills. I did not take excellent care of my physical health. I did not get up early and work hard all day. I did not do the essential things that I needed to do. I did not work the hours I needed to work, and so on. So write down, these are all the things I did to make 2018 the best year of my life, or these are all the things that I failed to do. And it is a real shocking exercise because as you start to ask that question and write down the answer, you realize, wow, if I did this and this and this, 2018 would be a great year. If I failed to do this and this and this, nothing would change.
The book is Believe It to Achieve It, Overcome Your Doubts, Let Go of the Past, and Unlock Your Full Potential. If you would like to get more information about Brian and his work, you can visit briantracy.com. Brian, in our final moments, what's the takeaway? What would you like to leave our listeners with?
Well, what shocked me, I was 21 years old, was the discovery that each person has unlimited potential. And the more of your potential you use, the more of your potential becomes available to you. The more you learn, the smarter you become. Your IQ actually increases as you learn a new subject. This is why a person who learns a new language is much more capable of learning a second or a third language. And so what you do is realize that there's no limit to your potential except the limits you place on yourself with your own doubts and fears. Just so say over and over, I can do anything I put my mind to. If you can write it down and make a list of activities to achieve it, you can accomplish it. And there are no limits. This to me, I learned when I was 21 and poor and struggling. It changed my life forever. No limits. No limits.
Brian, thank you for being here with us and for sharing strategies to help us live a more happy, successful life. You've changed countless lives with your work, and I know if our listeners implement what you taught us today, they can see positive changes in their life too. So thank you so much for being here and for sharing your wisdom with us.
It's a pleasure, Joan, and I wish all of our listeners to make this the very best year of your life. Until next year.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Stay with us. We'll be right back.